Welcome, everyone, to Phoenix Raceway, a doubleheader of racing coming your way. It's the CarQuest Champ Car Challenger Series from Arizona. The desert sun will not keep these 38 Champ Car Challenger Series competitors from hitting the racetrack not once but twice this weekend. One race today, one race tomorrow. It's the Biotechnica 225 here on ABN. Andreas Lamont enters as the points leader, 2 wins in succession, having won in Fontana in Texas just a week ago. He starts lower down in the running order than he'd like to for the start of this race. Can he make ground up here in Arizona? Current look at the point standings for the Drivers' Championship right now. Andreas Lamont with 53 points, those 2 wins coming in handy. Karina Amara, Bianca Lucero, the other 2 race winners this campaign. Top 3 in the points. Isabel Lantra of Phoenix Motorsports in 4th, ahead of Nera Takarasi for Frostfire Racing. Espacio Megalos, her teammates in 2nd. The second Faceporia Racing Team driver, Megalos sitting in 6th, starting on the back row here in Phoenix for this race on Saturday. Maria Damata starts inside the top 10 in 10th on the nose. She's 7th in points going in. Valerie Linder and Reese Bird, a pair of rookies, 8th and 9th in the points going into this race. Reese Bird starts in the points. Linder does not. Linder starts 20th today. Mia Vitsu, the Estonian driver for Cat Devil Racing, sits in 10th ahead of the Venezuelan Sergio Ariza for Escuderia Aguila, who sits 11th with 24 points. Anastasius von Sonnen for Cune Frashida, sitting in 12th ahead of Del Blanco and the Kosovar rookie Tatiana Voyacek in 14th place. Arashi Seto, Chet Anderson, Kelly Zappa, and Katerina Malinkovic are top 18. Rika Venäläinen, who won here last year, sits 19th in points going into this race. Julia Takani rounds out your top 20 in the standings entering this race. In the team standings, this is where it counts right now. The top team moves into the World Series next season. Faceporia Racing Team currently have that on the nose ahead of Black Rose Racing. Dragon Motorsports sits 3rd. Despite having only 1 car, Andreas Lamont really kicked up steam with those 2 wins in succession. Phoenix Motorsports in 4th. Obsidian Racing Team sitting in 5th ahead of Frostfire Racing, Crystal Cove. Swift Autosports Junior Team in 8th, Team Sakura sitting 9th at a Cune Frashida Drive Force. Remember, teams that are already in the World Series cannot have their junior teams move forward. Swift Autosport in 8th cannot move up into the World Series. Neither can the Dragon Motorsports team car sitting in 3rd. They can't move up because they've already got 2 cars in the World Series. We'll see them tomorrow at Homestead Miami Speedway. Fantair Racing, Fortune Racing, OSGP, and Yonjian round out the table of 14 teams scored. There's 5 other teams that are running here, but they have taken a voluntary demotion down to the Sprint Series beginning next season, so their points no longer count towards the team championship conversation. That being said, it is time to look at the starting grid for this race here in Phoenix on Saturday. Felicia Zappa on pole ahead of Bianca Lucero. Asada Quito and Rain Yorotander, the Kiribati driver, sitting in row 2. Sofia Alvarez alongside Hiro Moore. They make up row 3. Del Blanco and Kage Kobayashi will make up row 4. Your top 10 earmarked by Nera Takarasi and the Brazilian Maria Damata. Yasmina Bakan and Reese Bird, teammates, rookies for Black Rose Racing, sitting in row 6. It's Mia Vitsu, the Estonian, alongside the Finnish driver Rika Venäläinen in row 7. Arashi Seto and Kelly Zappa in row number 8. Row 9 is where you'll find Tatiana Voyacek and Yuya Ishii. Mari Inuzuka and Amity Polsatrix make up row number 10. Marcus Petrovic, Luisa Flores, row 11, ahead of Isabel Lantra and David Germain Jr. Anastasia von Sonnen down in 25th alongside Strucker Motorsports' second driver, Katerina Malinkovic, in row 13. Ace Raiden and Sora Hoshino in row 14. And the Arrowhead Racing Academy teammates, Julia Takani and Valerie Linder, make up your top 30 of 38 cars here tonight. It's almost time to go racing. So let's go ahead and send it trackside for those most famous words in all of motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
It is almost time for us to go racing here. And you see the field begin to roll. Off of pit lane, 38 Champ Car Challenger Series machines. Thousands upon thousands of horsepower. It's almost time for us to go racing. See the field coming down the back straightaway towards turn 3. Felicia Zappa, Bianca Lachero on the front row for the Biotechnica 225. And it's almost time to get this party started. The green flag flies. We're underway for Champ Car Saturday. Immediately, Lachero to the front. Ahead of Zappa. The Rotander sitting in third. The opening laps underway here. Underway. Lachero out in front. Taking the lead from Zappa on the start. As they all blare by. Rolling through turns 1 and 2 now. We're single file most of the way through. A lot of back markers running up there in the backer field. Everyone settling into a groove here in the opening laps here of the Biotechnica 225. Attempt at a pass there. That is Asada Kito looking at your Rotander. Japanese driver sitting in fourth. Couldn't make any inroads there. Kira Moore up to fifth. Ahead of Sofia Alvarez. Kobayashi trying to fend off Del Blanco, the 56. Maria Damata sitting right now in the 9th spot. Now so goes side by side, a couple rows deep. Reese Bird sitting in 10th as well, holding off Nara Takarasi. Rika Venalainen in 12th. Yasmina Bokan in 13th. 14th, Ishii. Kelly Zappa in the 15th position ahead of Mia Vitsu. Larashi Seto outside the top 16, 17th for her right now. Voyacek in 18th. Ahead of Marcus Petrovic, who's trying to stay ahead of Mari Inuzuka, who will sweep around the outside and grab that 19th position away. Launcher 21st. Paul Citrix 22nd. Von Sonnen 23rd. Raiden battling for 24th with Luisa Floros. Jermaine in 26th. Takani, Carter, Amara, and Mizuno round out your top 30 at the moment. There goes Milinkovic for that 30th spot. All 38 running. As things sit right now, Lachero, though, out in front as things currently sit. Setting into a groove here almost throughout the entire field right now, and we'll take a zoom out here out of turn 2 so you can kind of just see how quickly the field is spread out a little bit in these opening 12 laps. Everyone there in the mix. Keto still trying to find a way around your rotator for that third spot. Just hadn't been able to move much forward there. Trying to make that pass happen out of turns 1 and 2. Seems like the passing opportunity is really in 3 and 4. As far as the inside lane's concerned there, Alvarez trying to sweep around the inside. Akira Moore with Kobayashi in tow there in 7th. Bird in 10th, a little bit of a space between herself and her teammate Tamada. Not a bad place to be right now for both of those cars. Blanco sitting in 8th. Kobayashi right now in the 7th spot as things currently sit. And the opening 15 laps completed here in Phoenix. This could be a pretty quick race if things go green all the way. Rika Vendelina, remember how successful she was here last year. Up to the 12th spot. Car coming down pit lane. Trouble. That is Sora Hoshino, who will bring out our first caution of the day. Caution is out. Car stopped on the racetrack. Sora Hoshino comes to a stop early. Everyone rolling down pit lane now. Pretty busy pit lane. And with that, we'll step aside for the first time for a word from your local stations here on ABN. The Champ Car Challenger Series Biotechnica 225 will continue in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone, to the CarQuest Champ Car Challenger Series here on ABN, the Biotechnica 225. Under caution, a stopped race car on the track, Sora Hoshino, with an electrical problem. Hoshino back on the racetrack, though, not on the lead lap. As you see the lights on the Dodge Charger pace car have turned off. We're getting ready to go back racing here in Phoenix Raceway for Champ Car Saturday. You'll want to stay with us because we'll have qualifying for the Hard Rock 300 in Homestead, qualifying this afternoon, right after this, here on ABN. So you're not going to want to go anywhere for that. Bianca Lachero out in front. Not many takers for anything other than tires and fuel. Everyone largely staying where they were on that pit stop sequence. Lachero has led all 20 laps completed so far. Tatiana Wojciech, fastest lap so far, 20.7 for the Kosovo driver. And the green flag flies. We're back on our way for the first restart tonight. Lachero over Yorotander, Kobayashi, and Asada Kito in fourth. 3 wide, further back. Look who's sweeping around the outside lane. Del Blanco around Kira Moore and company. And here comes Takarasi. Leapfrogging Reese Bird, who's slow on that initial restart. Bird now in 11th. Slotting in line behind the Slovenian. Ishii trying to make a pass happen on Kaylee Zappa. Zappa rebuffs out of turn 2. Card on pit lane again. Sora Hoshino, I believe, the second time. Hoshino's come down pit lane. Indeed it is. A second stop for the 09. Hoshino down pit lane again. Lucero out in front and comfy in that 88 car right now, looking for a second race win of the season to join Andreas Lamont in that process. Lucero in the lead. Eurotander to second. Kobayashi close behind in third. Hito Namata up to fifth. Alvarez. Then Alainen up to 7th. Blanca to 8th. Moore in 9th. Reese Bird in 11th behind Takarasi. Kaylee Zappa 12th. Ishii 13th. Bokan in 14th. Holding on to points paying positions. Arasi Seto in the 15th spot. Last points paying position in hold of one of the Team Sakura cars. Isabel Lantra in 16th, just outside the points, under threat from Felicia Zappa, the pole sitter who spent a little bit extra time on pit lane. And Zappa does get through to 16th place. Petrovic can't quite do so. Mia Vitsut also trying to make passes happen here. There is Tatiana Wojciech. No longer fastest car on the racetrack. Was for a moment Takarasi with a 20.6. Now the fastest car rolling around, and you see Takarasi's gotten around Kira Moore. So the 57 is on the charge, the Captain Morgan machine for Frostfire Racing, both those cars in the points. Lucero has said, see you later, sayonara, arrivederci, to Rain Eurotander. Over a second, the gap now to the 46. With Kobayashi trying to figure out his way through. He thinks he's faster than the 46 of Eurotander. He might be right. Quito sitting stable in 4th. Damata sitting pretty decent up in 5th right now for Black Rose Racing. Alvarez in the 17 for Escuderia Aguila. And Quito tries to make a pass happen. Kobayashi rebuffed it, but also had a little bit of understeer. And they both hold each other up. Does Quito give it another shot in the turn 3? Not quite. Kanata trying to make a move forward as well. Ishii trying to make a pass here on Kaylee Zappa into turn 1. Not quite. Not quite. Close, but not quite there for Ishii trying to make a pass on Zappa. Huge gap down to Wojciech, who's gotten clear of Vitsut, Takani, Von Sonen, and Pulsatrix. You saw Oshino, that blue and white machine, back on the racetrack, but multiple laps down at this point. Oshino is 4 laps down right now. Raiden sitting in 23rd. Jermaine Lantra is struggling here, it looks like. Either that or it might be... Yeah, it looks like Lantra's the one struggling here because just got passed by Jake Carter for 25th. So Lantra not having a great time right now on the racetrack in that game bridge, number 45. Getting around in Izuka is Valerie Linder in that Arasaka number 98. Whoa, trouble! Car spun down the racetrack. Huge crash at the back of the field. Anderson and Azuka, both Team Impulse cars involved. And leaders trying to make avoiding action there. Huge hits for multiple drivers here. Rex Riley involved, Karina Amara involved. Anderson went up onto his side, I do believe. Either that or Inazuka did. And here's a look at the replay. And we'll back it up here so you can take a look. Gets hooked by Floros, Inazuka does. Both the Team Impulse cars are right there. Nowhere for Mizuno to go. Amara gets thrown straight into the wall. So does the 72 of Rex Riley. A lot of cars in trouble here. Kobayashi, a scare. So does Asada Kito with a scare. A huge crash. Everyone trying to take avoiding action just to avoid being part of the melee. And so caution is out for the second time. This time for a massive crash. It was all at the back of the field, outside the back the back 25. So we will step aside and let the field re-rack and let the track get cleaned up. We'll be right back here on ABN for more of the Biotechnica 225 after this. Welcome back, everyone, to the CarQuest Champ Car Challenger Series here on ABN. Second caution of the race here in Phoenix for the Biotechnica 225. 7 cars involved in this accident. All 3 face Pergher Racing Team cars involved. The team championship leader with significant trouble in this race, as it is for Verizon Team Impulse. Both their cars involved and out of the crash. They're on lap 38. A pretty hefty list of retirements in this race. Floros, Amara, Inazuka, Anderson, Mizuno, Megalos, and Rex Riley all out. Pace car on the back straightaway. On pit lane. Pit stops for the second time have given Rain Yorotan to the race lead for the first time in this race. Ahead of Bianca Lucero, Kage Kobayashi in third. Rico Venalainen up to fourth. Keep an eye on the 87 car. We have the Mata in fifth as we go back racing here in Phoenix. Remember, Yorotander was not that quick in that last run, was really being hassled by Kobayashi and company. Venalainen once again, stellar pit stop in that 87 count in the mix. Here we go. Up to speed. Kobayashi looked for the inside lane. Couldn't work on Lucero. Lucero going to try to chip away at the 46. Here comes Venalainen. Looks to the inside. Not quite. With a huge head of steam out of turns 3 and 4. But can't quite close in. Middle lane, the place to be to defend a position right now at the front of the field. Venalainen ahead of Damata. Kito in 6th. Takarasi in 7th. Alvarez in 8th. 9th. Kaylee Zappa ahead of Kira Moore. And Dale Blanco is trying to hold on to potentially the top 10 running position at the moment, and does so. Moore in 11th, Ishii in 12th, under threat from Reese Bird into 3 and 4. And Reese Bird will go up into 12th. Reese Bird on a charge, now looking at Kira Moore. Ends up slotting in line there in 12th. EGE 13th. Felicia Zappa in 14th place. Arashi Seto in 15th. The last points paying spot. Marcus Petrovic staring at the gearbox. In 16th. Voyacek in 17th. 18th. Bukan. Takani in 19th. Vitsut 20th. Von Sonnen 21st. Germain 22nd. Bolstrix in 23rd. Milinkovic battling to hold on to 24th ahead alongside Jake Carter. Linder and Lamont battling for 26th. Isabel Lantra 28th. Ace Raiden 29th. 30th. Sergio Ariza in 31st off the lead lap. Sora Hoshino. Rotander out in front. The fastest lap belongs to Takarasi still, 20.6. Two-car breakaway front of the field. Kobayashi in that third spot. Trying to stay ahead that of Rika Venalainen, who's actually lost a spot to Damata in the number 9 machine. Venalainen trying to defend from Asada Kito will do so to stay 5th. Kito in 6th. And Takarasi in 7th. Alvarez in 8th. Zappa and Moore now your top 10 ahead of Reese Bird and Del Blanco. Keeping an eye to see how quickly Lucero makes a move for position here. He is running faster than the race leader. Pretty good run. Though for the 46 out in front right now. Kobayashi in 3rd, Damata in 4th, and the threat now from Venalainen, who's looking for that 4th spot back. Right on the gearbox of Damata. Let's start on board with the 87 of Venalainen. Venalainen has climbed through the field pretty impressively. 2 pit stop sequences have helped out as well. Venalainen now sitting in 5th. As Damata opens the gap just a little bit now. Motion at the back of the field at the tail end behind Sergio Ariza. And everyone now slotting into line at this point. 31 cars with 38 starters. Still circulating on the racetrack. Lucero takes a peek to the inside lane. No dice there. How aggressive does Lucero want to be? Sure, teams are relaying information now. Remember, there's several teams that are battling for promotion into the World Series next year. OSGP, your Rotanders team, sitting 13th in points right now. They have been pretty starved of competitiveness in the opening 4 races. This could put them in the conversation. Bianca Lucero carrying Obsidian Racing Team pretty heavily. Both of those cars looking good. Remember, Venalainen and Lucero teammates, both of them top 5 right now. Doing pretty good. Vanter Racing would like to go back to the World Series. Kobayashi trying to carry him forward. Black Rose Racing would also like to get into the World Series. The question is, and we asked this question last week, with Champ Car requiring teams to shuffle down to 2 cars full time, who do you cut loose? If you've got 3 cars, your Rotander OSGP's got 2 cars, Obsidian's got 2 cars, those make sense. Fanter's got 2 cars. Black Rose Racing has 3 in the mix right now. Yanjian's got 2. Asada Kito and Yuya Ishii. Frostfire's got 2. The Scuderia Aguila's already got a World Series team, so they're not in that equation. So Autosport's also already in the World Series, not in that equation either. Frostfire's got 2 cars. We talked about that with Takarasi. Some interesting conversations being had here as we look through the field. Everyone's just trying to find some clean real estate at this point to make magic happen. Asada Kito got checked out big time, now under threat from Takarasi into turn 1. Kito holds on to the 6th spot. But it's a 2-car breakaway again at the front of the field. Lucero running with the Rotander right now to see how things pan out. Approaching lap 69 of 225. Rotander staying up in the mix right now. Kobayashi staying in 3rd. Pace is slowed by about a second now. Lucero led the first 38 laps. Your Rotander's now led 32. Passes have been a struggle. How about Linder? Can Linder make a pass in the outside lane? No, not quite. Carter stays on the inside lane and hold on to that 25th spot. Jermaine battling with teammate Milinkovic for 22nd. Sorry, 23rd. No, it is 22nd. And Milinkovic grabs that spot. Pulstrix in 22nd now. Fonson in 21st. Mia Vitsut in 20th. Takane closing forward on Yasmina Bokan. Wojciech in 17th, trying to find a way around Marcus Petrovich. That's a tense piece of work on the field. The geopolitics of that one's going to be interesting. The Serbian, Marcus Petrovich. The Kosovar, Tatiana Wojciech in range. And then you have the Slovenian of Bokan behind. Someone call NATO. Seto in 15th. Zappa in 14th. Ishii in 13th. Blanco in 12th. Attempted a pass by Seto, not good. Likewise, Wojciech buffed away by Petrovic. And now Bakan looking for a way through. There's Vitsit, the Estonian. A lot of Eastern Europeans in this field. Von Sonnen holding off Polstrix. Germain back around the Linkovic for position. But all of them outside the points right now. Larasi Seto, the gatekeeper to the points-paying positions. That's who Petrovic, Wojciech, and Bokan are trying to get around right now. Big pass made there. Ishii loses a couple spots. Ishii with a huge swing and a miss, now in 15th. And everyone's scrambling to try to make a pass happen there. Outer lane for Von Sonnen. Trying to hang on to position there ahead of Polstrix, who's in the outside lane at 3 and 4. And is successful there. Takani looking for a way around Bakan. Not quite yet on that pass. More attacking. Reese Bird, 4/10. Pretty decent gap between 9th and 10th. That's where Kelly Zapp is at. Alvarez in 8th. Takarasi in 7th. Kido in 6th. Venlainen and Damata 5th and 4th. Kobayashi has pulled away a little bit there in 3rd. With Damata's mirrors full of the Finnish driver. It is a 2.5 second gap between 1st and 3rd. Lucero beginning to chip away at the 46 again. They have pulled 2.5 seconds on the field. Lucero can now take a couple shots at the 46, who has led 43 laps unanswered in this race after Lucero took the lead early from Felicia Zappa to lead the first 38. Oshino not on the lead lap, trying to stay out of the way. Also showing a little bit more pace than what's here at the back of the field. Raiden in 30th, so the lead lap cars being bookended by OSGP. Kobayashi, Damata, Venlainen, Kito, and Takarasi in your top 7. Reese Bird hanging on the 10th ahead of Kira Moore. Blanco and Zappa. Both the Zappa sisters in the points right now for Swift Autosport. Ishii in 14th. Petrovic in 15th. Arashi Seto has been passed and moved out of the points-paying spots. So Petrovic right now looking for more than a point. As the field rolls through right now. Chero applying more pressure. Brought on board with the 88. Had to get out of the gas a little bit of understeer in the 88 car. Packed house for this weekend in Phoenix. You saw the crowd there, especially on the viewing mountain there in turns 1 and 2. A historic scenic spot. Kobayashi keeping Damata at bay as well. Carolina taking a shot there at Damata. Couldn't quite make it stick there. Seems that a pass there by Alvarez did not work out. And Takarasi holds on to that 7th spot. Leader's holding a pretty good pace at the moment. Petrovic trying to stay ahead of Rashicedo for that 15th spot. Car down pit lane, Lantra. Not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not for Lantra, but that was a car that was already outside the top 20. Why not take a shot at it? Sent that a pass there for Damata. Trying to close in. I think the ideal place to make a pass is going to be turns 1 and 2. To the pass here, but Venelainen, I don't think it's going to stick. It might. Venelainen had to give up a little bit there. Another car down pit lane. That's Lucero. Lucero down pit lane. So the pit window might be open to try to serve an undercut here. See how pit stops play out here. Lantra out of pit lane now. Kobayashi up to second. D'Amata in third. See if we can keep an eye on where Bianca Lucero is. Lucero's still on pit lane. So there must have been some issue for Lucero. Lucero is done. Lucero's out. Bianca Lucero is out. A suspension failure for the 88. That changes a lot. Lantra pulling away from second place there. Battle position here. Venolainer holding on to fourth ahead of Asada Quito, who still can't make that pass happen. Alvarez around Zappa, and that's to retain seventh. Reese Bird now in ninth. Kira Moore trying to stay in 10th ahead of Del Blanco. Ishii in 12th. Felicia Zappa now up to 13th place. Petrovic and Seto now both in the points. And now it's Vujicic and Julia Takani battling for position here. Bocan in the mix. Vitsut also in this mix, just outside the points-paying positions. There's Von Sonnen in 20th. Polstrix 21st. For 110 laps completed now. Here in Phoenix. Halfway point coming up here in just a lap. As Rotander takes lap 112 underway. The gap is 5.3 seconds. Rotander has opened up a pretty substantial margin to work with here. Lantra's not really pulled away from this group right here, despite making that pit stop about 15, 20 laps ago. D'Amata in third. Venolainen sitting there in fourth. Ahead of Quito. Takarasi under threat from Sofia Alvarez. Kelly Zappa sitting right now in that eighth spot. Waiting for the shoe to drop to open up that gap. Reese Bird around Kira Moore. Some more down to 10th. Blanco in 11th. Ishii in 12th still. Felicia Zappa 13th place. Petrovic and Seto. Your top 15 right now. Zappa trying to close the gap there on Ishii. See what's possible. Everyone clumped together in different groups. A lot of forward progress being made at the moment. At some point, your rotator will have to encounter lap traffic as well. And that should be a concern for that 46 cam. It'll be his teammate he first encounters. Put a lap down here. I don't think that really inspires confidence. 22.486 for Kobayashi. 22.0 for your rotator. So it's a pretty substantial gap right now. Namada thinks she can go faster. The Brazilian trying to take on Kobayashi there in that number 9. Ariza now in a threat here. They lost a spot there on track to Raiden. But you saw, just in the background, your rotator is there. And it will be a concern. Coming to 100 laps to go here in Phoenix for the Biotechnica 225. Spreading out. I feel like pit stops are not far away. And these could be the last pit stops of the race when they happen. Andres Lamont struggling to get around Jake Carter as things currently sit. 30 cars still running. 8 cars out. As you see Damata trying to make a pass happen. Up to second, got around Kobayashi. He gets around and gets clear of Lantra before turn 1. Pretty bold stuff there for Damata, the Brazilian, up to second. And now trying to close a gap down to your race leader, Rainier Rotander. Trying to become the first EQBOS driver to win in a Champ Car event. And Damata's got some pace, 21.8, 22.4 for your Rotander. The gap beginning to come down at the front of the field. It's an 8-second gap to close in on, but a lot of time still left to make that happen. Half a second gain there. A huge chance for Damata to grab a very needed point. Very, very needed points for the team. If the team was to go through the promotion part of it, a huge chance. 2 cars right now sitting in the top 10. Reese Bird in 9th. Yasmina Bakan trying to get into the top 10, sitting right now in 18th place, 17th, excuse me. Ishii has lost a spot to Takani, who sits now in the 15th spot. Voyacek to 14th. Petrovic up to 13th place. Savante Racing trying to score some significant points. And just might be able to. Damata's left that battle for 3rd behind. Assailably clear right now. With target acquired on the 46 of your Rotander in the second half of this race. The Rotander behind his teammate Ace Raiden. How close can he get to his teammate here to get through that dirty air? Big questions need to be asked. Kobayashi clear around Lantra. Venalina now held up behind the 45 with Quito, Alvarez, Zappa, and Takarasi all in tow. Reese Bird not far away. Kira Moore in 10th. Del Blanco sitting in the 11th spot ahead of Felicia Zappa, Marcus Petrovic, Tatiana Voyacek, and now Julia Takani with Ishii trying to hang on to 16th ahead of Yasmina Bakan and Arashi Seto. Niavitsu in 19th, Von Sonnen in 20th, Milinkovic 22nd. 21st around Amity Pulsatrix. Linder 23rd, Germain 24th, Carter 25th. Lamont down in 26th. His run of form has come to a grinding halt. Sergio Ariza and Ace Raiden, the last cars on the lead lap, just ahead of the race leader. And talk about gaps as they continue to close from 9 seconds to less than 6 seconds, the gap at the front of the field. Significant difference there as Damata tries to close the gap down. Rotander firmly in dirty air right now. How does the team handle it? I don't think it necessarily helps. I feel like you're going to have to keep Raiden in front of your Rotander. If a caution comes out, Raiden stays on the lead lap and has a chance to do something. If you let your Rotander goes by, then Raiden's just sort of a sitting duck at that point. There's not a whole lot available. But Damata is closing in a significant way. Cars down pit lane. Your Rotander, one of them. More also down pit lane. So your Rotander blinks first as Damata takes the race lead and comes down pit lane. Not this time. And that's going to be a problem for your Rotander to deal with. Lap traffic now in the way. A lot of cars down pit lane. You saw the pit lane there. A lot more cars down pit lane this go around. Your race leader, though, stays out. That's the yellow car. Bottom of your screen now, leaving screen. How about Damata coming down pit lane this time? Still no. Damata stays out again. Damata down pit lane this time. No down pit lane as well. Very slow crawl. That's just Damata getting to her pit box there. Pretty nuts. Venalainen down pit lane and coming out of pit lane now. Fonsonon also coming out of pit lane now. Huge blend of cars now. Pit lane. There is Damata. There's Kira Moore. Kira Moore right now running on the podium. Remember, Kira Moore injured in Fontana a few weeks ago. Missed out on Texas. Racing here in Phoenix. Sitting right now in that third spot. Kaylee Zappa up to fourth. Asada Quito in fifth. Petrovic sixth. Venalainen seventh. Reese Bird in eighth. Kobayashi now in ninth. Those that came down pit lane earlier are having a better time. Takarasi in 10th. Ishii 11th. Alvarez in 12th. Ahead of Takani and Felicia Zappa. Milinkovic now in the last points paying spot in 15th. And just ahead of your Rotander. Damata still, though, in second place. With some work to do to close in on the race leader. 12.6 seconds the gap. How about the line this time? 12.3. So Damata is still quicker. Zappa gets clear, as does Quito of Isabel Lantra. Oh, contact there between Venäläinen and Bird. And now they're 3 wide across our finish line with Kobayashi. And Venäläinen gets mugged. Reese Bird put her up to 7th. Kobayashi 8th. Takarasi in 9th. Ishii in 10th. Venäläinen in 11th now. Alvarez still 12th, but here comes Felicia Zappa looking for an additional spot. Andres Lamont in 16th right now, just ahead of Voyacek. Linder in 18th place. Again, your points finishers right now all in the lead lap. We'll see how that sticks. Reese Bird getting aggressive there for position, now up to 7th. Takarasi holding off Ishii and Venäläinen for 9th. Bird trying to make a pass on Quito. Going to be a difficult pass to make there in turns 1 and 2. Couldn't quite hold on there. Reese Bird might give it another go here. Right on the gearbox of the 48. Petrich in 5th, Zappa in 4th. And Racebird gives reprieve for a lap at least. Double-edged sword here with where things are at right now. Your rotator right there on the gearbox of Milenkovic does not have control of his own pace right now. The Mata does. Gap is closed down less than 11 seconds, and that will continue to go down because the Mata's not dealt with traffic in this race yet. Your rotator is in the middle of all of it. So both Moore and D'Amata will have a chance to close in on the race leader until they get to traffic. First piece of traffic will be that of Lantra again. Nursing an ailing car in that 30th position. And then Kaylee Zappa sitting there in 4th. Struggling to gain ground. Rotander tried to make a pass on Milenkovic, couldn't make it stick. Lost more time. A little over half a second of time. Milenkovic trying to hang on to that last points paying position for Strecker Motorsports. Your Rotander. 21.3 that last lap. How about D'Amata? And this time around across our finish line for D'Amata. Also 20.2, so trying to hang in there and manage tire wear a little bit. Kobayashi's trying and failing to get around. A 45 Elantra in turns 1 and 2. Ito trying to battle with Petrovic there. No dice. Bird in 7th. Going to have a chance at the 48 of Quito. Just can't quite make anything happen on that go around. Okay, we'll have to watch this battle for the 7th position. 6th position with Asada Quito in it. Marcus Petrovic using that distraction to get away with 5th. Kelly Zappa sitting in 4th. The gap has shrunk between 1st and 2nd, less than 10 seconds. Make it less than 9 seconds, 8.9 the gap between Damata and Eurotander, who is still stuck in a lot of traffic. And has actually lost a lot of pace there, under threat now from Andreas Lamont, who can't quite get his lap back. Car down pit lane. Who was that? That is Ishii. Ishii from 9th. Pits out of the points. That's a big ordeal. That puts Lamont into the 15th position, last spot of points-paying positions. So now Lamont has a little bit something to hold on to. Ishii down pit lane changes a decent amount there. Linder in 16th, Vojacek in 17th. Only 3 lap leaders so far. Eurotander's led over half this race. 137 laps led so far for the 46, compared to 6 for Damata. Bianca Lucero out of this race led 38 to open up the race. Damata has caught a little bit of traffic, but that is that at Ishii. And the gap has opened back up with Ishii in the way of Damata. So Damata trying to make up some grounds there. Lost some time behind Ishii as she came out of pit lane. Or as he came out of pit lane, excuse me. 8.8 the gap. The Rotander having a little bit of clean air. That has come at the expense of having to let Katerina Milinkovic go by. You see Elantra back in pit lane now. Down in 30th position. Damata trying to pull that gap, less than 8 seconds. Coming to about 30 laps to go. Out of 21.6. Last go around. How about the race leader? Eurotander 21.9. Last go around. So they have definitely hit a bit of a wall there on pace. Remember, Eurotander came down pit lane first and came down significantly sooner. Damata last go around 21.4. What about this lap for Damata? Another 21.4. Clocking in some pretty good laps. Last lap for Eurotander 20.0. Or 22.0, excuse me. A lot of traffic for Damata to deal with. And time is running out. But the pace in Damata's hands is there. You need someone like Lamont to start throwing your Rotander backwards a little bit if you're Damata. Traffic in the way of Milinkovic, Takarasi, Takani, and Zappa. Zappa battling there with Kira Moore for third. Keep an eye on Petrovic in that fight as well. There you go. Petrovic to fourth. They caught up to Moore for third, and now they're going to fight amongst themselves there for that third spot. Damata still on an island as far as position goes. Rotander seems pretty settled in right now. 26 to go here in Phoenix for race 1. Remember, lead lap cars are inverted to start race 2 tomorrow. So Lamont, if he's going to try to start on reverse race pole, needs to get around that number 46 car here. Otherwise, it'll be Milinkovic on pole. Milinkovic gets around Takarasi, so Takarasi might end up on pole position there for tomorrow. Milinkovic thinking immediate points. Now has to try to set through and get around Takani. Gap is stabilized at 7 seconds between Eurotander and Damata at the front of the field. Battle for third continues to rage on, though, as Petrovic looks for third around Kira Moore. No dice there. Pretty quick race here overall with less than 25 to go. Zappa trying to make a pass there on Petrovic for fourth. No dice. Quito in sixth, now in the conversation once again. And there is Reese Bird in seventh, keeping Kage Kobayashi at bay. Sofia Alvarez in ninth. Rika Venalainen in 10th. Isabel Lantra well off the pace at the moment. There's Felicia Zappa. Both Zappa sisters sitting in the points right now. Milinkovic up to 12th around Takani, around Takarasi. And Lamont trying to close in on the race leader, would like to finish on the lead lap here and be a part of that reverse race grid for tomorrow. Easier said than done. Valerie Linder's going to try to battle for that 15th spot, wants to take that point away. Couldn't quite make it happen there. Voyacek in 17th. Going to look to the inside of the 98. Sends it in turn 3. Bold lunge for Voyacek. Doesn't quite pay out there. Good effort, though, for Voyacek. Battle position here. Voyacek holding off David Germain Jr. for that 17th spot. Moore hanging on to third for dear life, coming to that 15 to go mark. Gap's back up to about 8 seconds between Eurotander and Damata. Well, the Subway 225 tomorrow here at Phoenix. Later this afternoon, it is qualifying for the Hard Rock Bet 300 in Homestead Miami Speedway for the Champ Car World Series right here on ABN. And caution's out! Caution's come out! Caution has come out for who? Caution has come out with less than 15 to go. Oh my goodness. Third caution today. Oh my goodness. Oil on the racetrack. Oil on the racetrack. They're saying it's oil from the 09. The sort of host you know. Oh my goodness. And with that, the plot thickens. On that note, we'll take our last commercial break here under caution so we can reset with the field and get ready for the closing laps here of the Biotechnica 225 here in Phoenix. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be electric. Getting ready to go back racing here for a shootout here in Phoenix, Arizona. The Biotechnica 225 is going to be electric. Rainier Rotander at the front of the field ahead of Maria Damata. Kira Moore in third. Marcus Petrovic in fourth. Fifth, Kelly Zappa. Importantly, no one under this caution came down pit lane. So old tires, who's got what to get to the end of this race, coming to 5 to go on this restart. It's a long wait down the back straightaway. Everyone wants a chance to grab positions here. 27 on the lead lap now. Vying for 15 points paying positions. Your Rotander, Damata, Moore. Your top three. The green flag flies, and this will be the run to the finish. Damata's been faster than your Rotander the entire second half of the race, but was separated by traffic. That separation is gone. Now it's all about what you got and how can you use it. Damata trying to set up a run. Had to get out of it massively. Understeer. Opens the gap. Three to go. Huge gaggle of cars looking for position here. Racebird trying to put it 3 wide. Zappa far outside lane. Gets held up there. And here we go. More battles for position. Kelly Zappa looks to the inside of Petrovic. Kobayashi gains a spot. Racebird down in now the 8th position. Alvarez battling for 9th. Milenkovic in the mix. Everyone jockeying for position. Coming to the white flag. This will be 1 lap to go here in Phoenix. Down the back straightaway towards 3 and 4 for the final time. Rainier Rotander will become a Challenger Series race winner. He wins race 1 in Phoenix. Damata in 2nd, Moore in 3rd, Petrovic 4th, Kelly Zappa in 5th. Ahead of Asada Kito, Kake Kobayashi, Racebird, Sofia Alvarez. And they crash behind. Alvarez in 9th. 10th place, Katerina Milenkovic. Felicia Zappa in 11th. Julia Takani, 12th. Rika Vendeline in 13th. Nera Takarasi in 14th. Tatiana Voyacek scores the last point position. Ahead of Valerie Linder, Andreas Lamont outside the points there. Jake Carter in 18th. David Germain Jr. in 19th. Mia Vitsud in 20th. Dale Blanco in 21st. Ahead of Ace Raiden. Sergio Ariza. Amity Polsitrix, Yasmina Bakan, Anastasius von Sonnen, Arashi Seto will start on pole tomorrow. Isabel Lantra, Yuya Ishii. Laps down, but running at the finish. Sora Hoshino among the list of 9 retirements. Bianca Lucero, Luisa Flores, Karina Amara, Mari Inuzuka, Chet Anderson, Yumina Mizuno, Espacio Megalos, and Rex Riley. All out here in Phoenix. Felicia Zappa turned around backwards after the finish. Returning the pit lane now. Pole position did not turn out the way she thought it would, but it is points. 5 of them for Felicia Zappa, both with Autosport cars in the points. But it's Rainier Rotander, Maria Damata, and Kira Moore on the podium here in Phoenix this Saturday afternoon. A wild race here. We hope you join us again tomorrow for even more World Series action qualifying for the Hard Rock Bet 300 at Homestead Miami Speedway. That is this afternoon, coming up next here on ABN, your home for Champ Car racing all across the board. We hope to see you there as we figure out who goes for pole in Miami. And then racing a whole bunch tomorrow here on ABN, the Champ Car Challenger Series, the Subway 225 kicks things off, and then the Hard Rock Bet 300 from Homestead tomorrow evening. Everything here on ABN. We're glad you're with us. We're glad you joined us for an amazing race here in Arizona. Join us again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy. We'll see you once again here in the Sunshine State. Until then, so long, everybody, from Arizona.